When you start out on the journey to be a parent, you have an idea that it's going to be a certain way because you've read the books, what to expect and what to expect and what to expect, and that whole journey takes a huge Y, and the road splits off in a different direction that you didn't even know was there. There's so many new aspects that were never in the literature that you read. They were never in the research that you did. Suddenly, you were given the opportunity to go down that side of the road.
When our daughter was born, she was born perfectly normal, a little early, and she became sick when she was 15 months old. So her disability was not from birth. It happened when she was 15 months old, and so we had to readjust our thinking.
Let's see. First of all, it's fun. It's a life changer.
Definitely. We found out that she had Down syndrome about 5 months before she was born.
Before we had her, I didn't even know what Down syndrome was.
I will say I've always worked with children and students, and many times they had disabilities, both cognitive and physical, and so I felt like I was very aware. And then becoming a parent of a child with disabilities, I realized how unaware I was. I knew they were out there, but I never thought about the barriers and the obstacles they faced. How much work families and those with disabilities really have to put in to do the simplest of things. So I think it's just made me more aware of that, and then to be mindful of those around me that have disabilities, to put that lens in and think, okay, what kind of barriers would be had here at this event with someone who was unable to walk, with someone who had sensitivity to light or sound. And so I think it's really put a different perspective in my lens.
It's life, it happens. You're shocked, but you don't have time to be shocked, if that makes sense. And you're reaching out to the doctors and different organizations to try to get help as a family. And we were very young when Chelsea's got diagnosed, and so we've come a long way and been through a lot, but there's a lot of people that are handicapped or special needs that have gone through a lot worse situations than we've been through and have it really, really hard.
You want to tell him, or you want me to tell him?
What?
How we met?
Yeah, you can tell him.
Okay, about 30 years ago, Martha and I met. She was a dishwasher at Texas Woman's University, and I was her boss. And she was living in an apartment with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend passed, and she went into a host home setting and was abused, and came out of that and had serious behavior, so nobody wanted her, and she came to live with me. And she's been with me ever since.
My mom and Al lived in Connecticut, and when she passed away, I'm living here, and we were trying to figure out what to do. And so I asked Al, I said, Al, do you want to stay in Connecticut with our other brother, or do you want to come to Texas? And he said, I want to go to Texas. I said, okay. So we made the trek. We drove 1,500 miles or whatever and moved down here. And so since then, in the last year, we've had to learn the system here in Texas and get him situated while we're going through the grieving process. And, I work full time. I have 2 young children. I'm a single mom. So it was a significant undertaking, but I had promised my mom that we would take care of him.
We're pretty lucky with Ashley. She was born healthy.
She didn't have any heart problems.
No, and very, very few things all her 22 years.
I guess I would start by talking about what it was like in, growing up in high school, where, there was the special kids and there was everybody else, special ed and, us, the regular kids. And that was the way life was for a long time until God put our son in my life, and I realized that the separation thing is artificial and frankly unnecessary.
Over the years, we've called her our blessing because she has the most wonderful outlook and the most positive outlook on life, and sees good in everyone. And so, but there are those challenges because she's 28 years old, and at that age, you expect your child to be grown, getting married, having families of their own. She still lives at home with us, and so we still have to worry about caregiving at times when we would like to do something as a couple, and we can't. And so things like that, you have to think about where you go and what you do and how it's going to affect her, because noises affect her, loud noises, flashing lights. So there are a lot of things you have to take into consideration that parents of children without special needs don't have to think about.
I think my biggest fear as a parent is my child being discriminated against. Unfortunately, when he wheels in a room, and he's cute, but people see the wheelchair. So I think that's my biggest fear, is that people won't be able to see past his disability and get to see how gifted he also is.
For my family, the biggest fear, we were not promised life, we were promised the opposite. So every day for us was literally a battle of life and death. Every day that we faced was another day that hadn't been promised, and another day that we, really just had no idea how we were going to get through.
I guess it's scary right off the bat when you first find out, because there's a lot of things in the world that are not right for Chelsea or for our daughter. Just with the disabilities, people don't know how to really treat them or react around them. Like her obstacles would be if she walked into a store, she doesn't know really money-wise. She can't do money, and just her speech is impaired.
Growing up with a brother with disabilities, it was always, we were his eyes and ears and his voice. I remember sitting in the Board of Education meetings with my mom because we were both advocating for Al.
It's amazingly rewarding. It can be tiring. It can be frustrating, but for the most part, overall, it's really, really cool. We have a good time together. It's taken us a long time, but we have a good bond. And I think you like me all right, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, what else to say? Oh.
But it's really...
I count money, but I don't know how to count. I just say 5, 10, 15, 20.
It's as fun as you make it. It really is.
It does keep me up at night. What happens when I'm not here?
What's going to happen to us after we're gone?
Yeah, when she outlives us, we're lucky in the fact we have a lot of family on both sides. So we know Ashley will be taken care of properly. But there are kids out there that don't have anybody.
I think that's probably one thing that scares a lot of people that have special needs. Oh, who's going to take care of them when we're not here anymore?
My biggest fear as a parent is if I'm not here. That's the hardest thing. If I'm not here, who's gonna care for my child? Sorry. And I know Bridges has a goal that in the future, our kids will have a place. If something happens to me, they will have love, care, and a home to where they can continue with their friends, being a successful part of a community, not being shut away.
Yeah, that would be amazing if Bridges could have like a home for adults. That would just, that'd be great. We've always said that Chelsea's not gonna go anywhere, but with us. But I don't know what the future holds, for us, if something happened to Steve or me or whatever, but yeah, that would just be amazing to be able to have her close, and somebody you trust, like I said, so.
I guess every parent realizes they're one day not going to be there for their kid. When you have a special needs kid, I think that's amplified. And you worry that once you're not there to look out for them, that they're not going to get everything that they need to thrive.
What would happen if something happened to me? Well, where would she go?
I'm not gonna die.
No, what if I did?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's our biggest fear.
I don't want you to talk about it, okay?
Okay.